Hey guys, what's up? Excoundrel here. This is going to be a bit of a long one. We're going to be talking about the 3.10 update notes. There is lots of notes to talk about. Now you might wonder why I haven't published much Vainglory stuff on my channel recently. Really that's just due to the fact that I've been playing Command & Conquer Rivals because I had a few events to cover and I really needed to get to know the game. And I do really love the game as well, so I'll still be doing Rivals content on my YouTube channel. If you haven't had a go at the game, do feel free to go and check it out. I'll be doing a video on kind of Command & Conquer Rivals as a whole later on this week, but I will be playing Vainglory again now because I've got a bit more time. Rivals has died down a little bit in terms of events, and I can go back to my usual stuff, which is nice. Again, I'm kind of dictated by esports and events because that's my job, so when events pop up for certain games, often I have to dedicate a lot of time to that game to make sure I'm giving a good quality product on the other end. But now the Rivals stuff is finished, I can go back to doing what I love, which is the Vainglory content. So we're going to cover everything that we can from 3.10. I'm going to start off with the overall game changes. I'm going to gloss over them. I'm not going to talk about the skins or the new hero in that much detail. I will do a new hero video probably 2 days time, just talking about what I feel about her, playing her a little bit on the PC. But we'll just gloss over. So Elva has been released. She looks really, really cool. I think she's a very, very good thematic hero, and I really like the way that she plays. A lot of people are concerned that her hunter's sense is going to be better on the PC. It's only within her individual vision range, not within the vision range that your screen gives you. Obviously, PC screens have been shown to give a slightly higher vision range. But she looks really good, and I'm really excited to test her out for you guys and see what I think. Best skins they've released, the Panda Jewel skins, probably the best skins they've ever released. I think they're bloody awesome. Game mode updates. One for All now has mirror matches, so you can play versus the 10 of the same heroes on the same game. And because 3v3 has had massive updates in terms of the way it plays, they've tried to balance Rumble to play the way that it did before, because everyone loved Rumble. In-game chat. So in-game chat obviously comes with that band of toxicity. And I would argue that if you don't want in-game chat, you can just disable it. I don't think it's going to get used as much as in League of Legends, because mobile players and tablet players will not type as quickly as PC players. But yeah, if you feel like it's going to be too toxic for you, I would just disable it. But I do think this is a good step for in-game communication. New and improved home screen. There's a brand new UI in Vainglory, which is awesome. And I think it looks amazing. I want your guys' feedback when it comes out, but I think it looks brilliant. Couple of bug fixes. Some abilities no longer allow an instantaneous basic attack after them. This is interesting because I always felt that this was a feature. Some abilities, when activated, would allow you to instantly reset your basic attack. An example of that is Ringo's Twirling Silver. If you basic attack, then Twirling Silver, you get an instantaneous basic attack straight afterwards, meaning that you can beat your current attack speed to loop 2 auto attacks together very quickly. I don't know which abilities they've changed, whether it's all of them or some of them, but this will definitely change the way that some heroes play specifically. Fix the bug where Shroud Step caused Idris to deal reduced damage. Okay. Damage dealt to scout cams is now displayed as true damage. A little bit of a quality of life change. Varia's second basic attack no longer deals weapon damage. So the second part of her lightning no longer deals weapon damage, which basically kills the weapon power Varia. So she's killed. Activating stealth will no longer cause players to automatically deselect you whilst you're under the effect of their true vision. So people like Flicker and Taka, for instance, when they go invisible, if they are in range of something like a scout cam, or they are just currently in some kind of vision range, you will no longer deselect them with your basic attacks, for instance, or your ability when they go stealthed. I always felt like going stealth was a way to dodge out abilities and juke people, even in true vision, but it does make sense that if you have vision of them, you shouldn't be able to deselect them, so it's a nice quality of life change there. Right, let's go on to the actual balance notes updates, because this is a big part of it. Right, strap in, because this is long and lots of changes. I'm going to try and go over it quickly, because I know hour-long videos nobody wants, but we'll talk about it as quickly as we can. General meta, bounties have gone down overall. This was good because what would happen, and I still think that you might see this, but basically what would happen is that people would get 3 or 4 kills and then you'd kill them and you'd suddenly get like 2,000 gold, and it was just insane. So the comeback potential was too much. So that's getting reduced. Turret heat duration. So heat duration is the when it ramps up damage, goes up to 4 seconds. Total experience when sharing non-jungle minion XP. So this is when you're sharing minion XP that is in the lane, you get 120% in total. So overall, minion sharing XP has gone down a little bit. Let's talk about 3v3 meta now. General, ambient lane gold down by 10%. Jungle ambient gold down to 50%. Trickle gold is up, trickle experience is up, and experience to level has been reduced in the early game and increased in the late game. So you're going to get to something like level 6 quicker, but it's going to take you, although I think it might be similar time across the board, but essentially it's allowing you to get earlier levels quicker. Which means that you should ramp up to power spikes much more quickly. Which also means, unfortunately, heroes that have, for instance, level 2 power spikes have got a much shorter window to abuse them in. Basically, this also helps captains who are now going to receive less ambient experience in 3v3 get their levels more rapidly, but it does mean that those early spiking heroes now have less time to utilize their level spikes specifically. Now has warning timers on camp spawns, so it'll let you know when a camp is about to spawn. Bounty increase per farm has gone up, so again, if you're a good farmer, your bounty is going to go up more quickly. Death timers are the same in the early game. Oh no, they just changed the time. So the death timers are basically going up quicker, essentially also leading to a shorter game length, essentially. Sanctuary speed boost is up in the early game for longer, and mid game is up for a little bit as well. So basically allowing you to get onto the map more quickly. For 15 seconds means you should be able to get all the way to the center portion of the map super quickly. Meaning that if you want to go straight for the jungle treant when it spawns in the middle or contest it, you can. Or even into your enemy's jungle, you'll have a long time to run very quickly. General, time between spawns is up, but it spawns an additional range minion and replaces a siege minion with a captain minion, which is from 5v5 every 4th wave. The first level up time is at 3 minutes, and the level up rate 90 seconds. Oh, so they're going to level up at the same time, and the first level up is quicker as well. You get more experience per minion killed, which also is going to affect that shared experience, so overall. And there's also more gold or less gold for range, less gold for melee, less gold for siege, and less gold for captain. So gold across the board is going down slightly as well. So experience is going up, but gold from minions is going down. And I guess that's also because the trickle gold has gone up. So remember, the ambient gold that you're getting has gone up, but they're going to reduce the amount of gold that you get from farm by a small amount as well. Overall, this means that when you've got a captain minion, it's going to be much more easy to manipulate waves in 3v3, and if you're using captain minions in 3v3, you can actually push really quickly. So overall, just allowing you to be a bit more aggressive with waves, but also meaning that you might be able to end games quicker. Jungle monsters no longer scale off attackers' net worth. Respawn time is up on bears, up on treants. And they all have a fixed leash range, so you can't randomly leash the camps forever. You know, I know there was a bit of an issue in 3v3 with leash ranges, so they've all got a fixed leash range. First level up time is up, so it's a little bit less. If you fail in the jungle early on, you've got 45 extra seconds to be able to fight monsters of the same level. The level up rate has gone up, however, so after that it's going to get a bit more punishing. And the max level is now 7, which means that actually as the game progresses, the minions are going to stay easier to kill. So as you get up towards level 12, those minions are going to stay easier to kill in the jungle, which means you'll be able to clear them quickly in the jungle later on, which basically means you'll be able to run in, kill a jungle camp and run out and be more useful on the map rather than spend more time farming. Elder Treant, despawn time is down by 7 seconds, so you have less time to contest that Elder Treant in the center of the map, and also means it's got a 15-second grace period before the jungle shop comes in. What does that mean? Not much. I think just means that you might have to take it on rotation almost every time if you want to get it before that sort of jungle camp comes on. If you want to get that last kill before the jungle camp comes on, you have to make sure you're taking it on rotation if you're trying to get it every single time. Crystal Miner no longer walks from base, no longer has lives. There is a respawn time of 90 seconds, so it will constantly respawn. Grants the killer's Sentry Might for 90 seconds. Deal 15% more damage, take 20% less damage, and nearby enemies are slowed by 25%. That is going to be absolutely ridiculous for melee assassins, really aggressive ranged carries, especially that are far ahead. That is just an insane buff. I mean, essentially, you now have to really protect your Crystal Sentry. That has become an objective that you definitely need to care about. It's not just about Kraken on 3v3 now, which also means there's going to be a bit more map variability in what you can do on 3v3. But if you lose your Sentry, I mean, that could almost be game over for 1.5 minutes. You have to just avoid that hero probably for 1.5 minutes. It's insane, especially if you on a ranged carry, especially too. Great for kiting. And on a melee assassin, great for killing. So it's basically good on everybody, apart from the captain. You probably wouldn't give it to captains, but apart from the fact that nearby enemies are slow by 20. I mean, this part's okay for captains, but this bit less so. But this is just an insane buff that can almost end you games in its own right as well. So Crystal Miner is really important on 3v3, almost to the extent of the minion buff that you used to get with it. More so than that, maybe. Gold Miner, respawn time up by 20 seconds. So once you kill it, it's not back for 30 seconds. The despawn time is a lot earlier. Gold generation is up. So it just means the Gold Miner is more important to take when you can take it, because it doesn't spawn as often and it will give you an advantage more so than it did before because of just how scarce it is compared to previous. I mean, it's despawning 3 minutes 25 before previous. So yeah, crazy. Kraken spawn time 3 minutes earlier, that's why. And the respawn time is 90 seconds, half respawn time on Kraken. Yeah, basically they want 3v3 over. They want this is what I said when I read the patch notes and said 3v3 is getting its own meta. They want 3v3 to be a super quick game mode compared to 5v5. They want that 3v3 game mode to be the 10 to 15 minute game experience, where you can just pick up your game and play it for 10 or 15 minutes. And not have to worry about sort of the super long games, which I think for a mobile game is a better choice. I know a lot of 3v3 players will say, well, I don't want my game to be really short. But I think it's a better decision for Vainglory as a whole, because you need to have something that allows you to just pick up the game and play a competitive game mode without talents. And I actually quite like that for 3v3. It's the same in League. 3v3 matches never really last as long in 3v3, and I think that's better. These are Treant health is up. Stats Treant health is massively up. Defense is down. Damage is down but scales. Experience up. Gold massively up. Elder Treant massive health increase. Defense is down and doesn't scale. Damage is down. No, damage is the same but scales better. Experience is up and gold is up. Okay, basically doing this for every single jungle camp. And this probably means with the massive health increase on 3v3, if you're a jungler, you have to start Stormguard banner, and you probably need a Storm Crown. Kraken, okay, so this, wow. So it no longer takes reduced damage from basic attacks, which was actually one of the biggest reasons that the health pool felt so tanky. The health pool has been over tripled, and it scales. And the health pool when captured has been over tripled and when it scales. So Kraken is probably much harder to take, but also is just insane when you take it. The damage is down, so it's not going to deal as much damage to turrets, but it will scale up. It will level up to level 12, remember. So this is going to be 75 times 12 plus 400. So you could end up having more damage than 1,000. Just means that if you take it really early on in the game, you might not get this level of damage. But it is incredibly tanky, and it scales incredibly tanky too. So taking Kraken is going to be an effort, but when you get it, it's going to be even more of an effort to kill it off. And it is definitely a game ender. So it's spawning earlier and it being a little bit tankier, but overall being much harder to kill when you get it means it's definitely going to be more of a game ender. Although no longer taking reduced damage from basic attacks and defense is going down means you will deal more damage to it. I don't know how that translates to the health increase, whether it's going to feel fairly similar. The actual decrease from 200 to 100 doesn't change the percentage reduction as much as you might think. The percentage reduction gets changed more like, I think it's probably more like 20% from 100 to 100. So, and no longer taking reduced damage from basic attacks also means that basic attack heroes will chunk it out more quickly. Yeah, but definitely feels like Kraken's going to be that sort of the big objective. It's not going to be as easy to take now. Means you'll have more time to contest it, but you kind of have to contest it. Turrets, 25% of current health. Okay, so it will never actually 100% kill you. So turrets can never kill you, but they will definitely deal much more damage at the higher HP. Outer health down, damage down, defense globally up without scaling. So they're going to be harder to take with defense earlier on. And the gold is 100 global plus 300 local. So getting a turret gives you much more gold, so you can snowball. Middle turret, defense. So health and damage down, defense up. Same with all the turrets, it seems like. So all the turrets except for the Vayne, and even the Vayne as well, is having the same treatment. Basically, they don't scale. They're harder to take because of their defense early on, but they deal less damage. But once you get it, it's much more of a reward, and also you get more reward the further you push in. So you'll snowball much more effectively on 3v3 if you can start to take turrets quickly. Right, that was a lot, and we're only like, oh no, guys, I promised it was going to be quick. Screw, oh bollocks. 5v5 meta. River flow movement speed bonus slightly decreased. They didn't tell me the value for that, but okay. Ambient lane gold down. Jungle gold down to 0%. This is what I'm talking about, baby. This is the change that I wanted to see for a very long time. And you'll see it in the experience as well. Experience is no longer shared from slain jungle monsters. Trickle decreased by 25%. Experience has been redistributed to the lane minions to share and jungle. No more double jungle. Absolutely no more double jungle. If you double jungle, you're going to end up with one player who is level 5 at like 15 minutes because you get no experience from killing jungle monsters together and you get no gold from killing jungle monsters together. So if you want a jungler who, I mean, you can play funnel the carry if you want, but you're going to end up with a level 5 player who's going to be useless to your team and probably going to be basically playing 4v5. So this means, and I mean this absolutely 100% unclear, if you want to play Vainglory without playing 4v5 every game, do not take your jungler's farm. Unless they give it to you, do not take your jungler's farm. Don't go around the jungle with your jungler. Don't leave your lane to try and help your jungler clear. Your jungler has got to go and clear the jungle by themselves. This means that the jungle role is now 100% in the jungle basket, and it means that it's going to be very difficult to play a game where you're trying to share the jungle. If you're a captain, you get your experience and your gold from lane. If you're a jungler, you need to solo clear the jungle because, yeah, you can get a leash, okay? So someone can help you kill a jungle camp at the start, but they can't take it from you because they will take all of the experience and all of the gold. So carries, you've got to stick in your lane. Junglers, you are now in the jungle by yourself. Best change Vainglory has ever made to 5v5 meta, hands down. Jungle camps, first level up time is up, so it's going to be slightly easier to clear the jungle in terms of levels earlier on. In durability, so their tankiness has been increased by 15 to 20% at level 1, scaling back to level 7, with level 7 being the cap. So jungle camps cap at level 7 apart from epic monsters, which again, like I said, is as you level up, the jungle will be much easier to clear as the game progresses. So in the late game, you don't have to waste too much time clearing jungle. It's just going to be a nice gold income source that you can clear as you go. Treants, the heal is up scaling later and the energy is up scaling later. Barrier Treants, barrier is up scaling later but not as good early on. Lane minions, gold is down because I think Trickle is up, and captain minions are worth a little bit more, but everything else is down a little bit. Jungle bosses now have consistent armor shield throughout the game, same as 3v3. I don't think they've put the details down here, but it's the same as 3v3. Ghostwing is much tankier at first spawn, slightly less tanky at max, and Blackclaw is first tankier at first spawn, slightly less tanky at max, which means you can't just go and take Ghostclaw or Ghostwing or Blackclaw instantaneously when they spawn now. It is going to be something that you have to really coordinate to make work, but in the later game, they should be easier to take and allow you to end games more effectively. Wow, okay, so let's move on to the heroes. That was a wild ride of meta changes, but let's move on to the heroes. Sorry if I sounded a little bit echoey previously. It's because I noticed that my microphone had twisted and the sensitive part of my microphone is like here. So unfortunately I was kind of talking to the side of my microphone, which meant that I didn't sound quite so good, but I'm not going to re-record all that because I talked a long time. So hopefully we'll be okay. Okay, let's have a look at Anchor. Shimmerblade damage is down. Eviscerate movement speed bonus is down. Damage is also down, and the crystal ratio is down. Wow, so they've nerfed her A pretty heavily, actually. Dancer Blade's base damage is down, but the crystal ratio is up. And Mirage cooldown is up. So basically, massive nerf to Anchor. They really don't want Anchor to be as banned as often as she is. 10% increase in crystal ratio on her B is nice. I don't know how much this guts the Anchor. I think it does do enough to make her low damage impact. The thing is, I still think she'll be able to kill people. I need to test how much burst she's got here, but Anchor definitely doesn't feel like she's going to be top tier if this is the way that it plays out, as well as the fact that the jungle is much tankier and she has to start Stormguard banner, as all junglers really have to start Stormguard banner. This might put Anchor in an odd position in the meta and maybe not as viable. We'll see. Julia's gift, vengeance per hit down to 5%. Arden no longer gains vengeance from a self-casted Vanguard. The overdrive vengeance recovery is up to 50%, however, so you get more back for casting vengeance. For casting Vanguard. Damage is down, up in the early game, down in the late game. Cooldown is the same, but slightly down in the late game. And the range has been nerfed until you overdrive it, so you kind of have to overdrive Vanguard if you want to... You still basically max it if you're Captain Arden first, absolutely. But this is actually a pretty significant nerf to. This is a pretty significant nerf to Vanguard until you overdrive it for sure. Blood for blood damage is nerfed heavily into the late game. Percentage bonus damage nerfed. Cooldown is down because of the vengeance per hit recovery time, I think. And the range is consistently 7 across the board. That's crazy, and this definitely is going to kill Weapon Power Arden. I think this might even just kill Weapon Power Arden. Yeah, crazy changes there. And actually, Weapon Power Arden might be in a really rough position, especially without attack speed. Weapon Power Arden without attack speed, especially. And I think this is a change that needed to happen because Weapon Power Arden was really good, but I think this specifically kills the Weapon Power Arden. Gauntlet cooldown is down, duration is up across the board, and the stun duration is down until you overdrive it. So as a Captain Arden, this is great. This is essentially a slight buff for Captain Arden, but a nerf for Arden across the board. Realistically, this is a buff to his ultimate, but everything else kind of got nerfed, and until you overdrive Vanguard, it's not in a great position. But Captain Arden should still be good. Weapon Power Arden has definitely taken a massive hit here. Baron, move speed up, basic attack range to 5.9, primary target weapon power ratio up by 5%, the splash ratio up by 5.5%. Bonus move speed on jump jets is down, however, because of his movement speed increase, and that's just a reciprocated movement speed increase. Yeah, and so it's a massive movement speed nerf at the top end. The weapon ratio is up, though, so you should get a better scaling movement speed. So you might actually be a really fast boy, actually. Baron might be a really fast boy if he gets a lot of weapon power behind him. Ion Cannon bonus attack range nerfed. So if we think about the fact that you previously could get 7.4 attack range if you overdrove your Ion Cannon, which most people did for the attack range. The maximum attack range you can get now is 7.1. So actually it's an attack range nerf to Baron, which puts him in a slightly more precarious position, and that might be why the bonus movement speed changes with the weapon ratio here have been changed to allow him to be more maneuverable, but he also has got a slightly reduced range. Overall, though, it is a buff to Baron, and we might see Weapon Power Baron coming back here, because that's a pretty significant buff to Baron. Flicker, movement speed down. Binding light damage per second down significantly with the crystal ratio up. Fairy Dust, which is his ring, the one that goes around him, damage down across the board and crystal ratio down, and the nerf to Mooncloak. So nerf for Flicker apart from the crystal ratio on his A, which no one could hit anyway. So yeah, pretty significant nerf to Flicker, and actually one that was probably needed because he was a little bit obnoxious as a pulse weave player or jungler, and the movement speed also means that he's going to be a bit harder to get across the map. So Flicker probably kind of being nerfed down a little bit here. We'll see what happens to Pulse Weave. If Pulse Weave's in a good place, probably still see some Flicker, but that's a pretty significant change to Flicker. Fortress, Truth of the Tooth, now immediately jumps to the target and then applies the Prey Mark. The cooldown is down and the damage is up. We got a little buff for Fortress. That's not bad. Yeah, I basically, it means he can jump to his target immediately and allow people to chase up to them. Still think it's not enough to make Fortress super viable, but Fortress definitely needed a little bit of love, and this might help him out, especially the early cooldown reduction on the Truth of the Tooth. Gwen, Buckshot Bonanza, cooldown down across the board, energy cost down across the board, damage is up, and the crystal ratio is down. So weapon power Gwen will like this for sure. This just means you can use your A a bit more frequently, and the base damage going up means it'll deal a little bit more damage as the game progresses. Skedaddle, cooldown down, energy cost up as the game progresses. Just means it's not so free to use, but with the cooldown being down, that's great for Gwen, especially in the early game. A little bit of a buff for Gwen. Ace is high, cooldown is up, range has been pretty significantly increased actually, and the damage has been buffed in the early game, nerfed in the late game with a slightly higher crystal ratio and an overdrive stun ratio going up, but you need to have 2 points in it to equal the stun ratio. Actually, that's pretty nice. I think this is a small... people might think this is because there's a lot of text here. This is a big buff to Gwen. This is a small buff to Gwen, but enough to keep her in a really nice position. CP Gwen... gonna feel hurt by this 25% crystal ratio takeoff, but weapon power Gwen actually got a nice set of small buffs this update. Right, Idris, divergence paths, ranged attack crystal ratio to 85%, ranged attack weapon ratio. Oof, hybrid Idris. They wanted to kill that. They don't want Idris to be hybrid. They want you to choose one or the other. Yeah, hybrid Idris is a no-go anymore. You can't play that hybrid Idris build anymore whatsoever. Don't try. It will fail you. It does mean it's a nice buff to CP Idris though. Shroud Step, damage amplification down across the board. Barrier is down across the board, but the weapon ratio is up on the barrier. So that means if you go weapon, you get more of a barrier. Barrier duration is down, so you have to be much more particular about when you use it. And the barrier lockout, which means you won't be able to get the barrier again in this amount of time, no matter what the cooldown is on your ability. But having a weapon power ratio means that that barrier lockout comes down. So basically saying Shroud Step is an ability that we want to be focused on weapon power Idris, and it's more of just a nice repositioning ability for CP Idris. So weapon power Idris got a pretty nice set of changes here, which means that once you get to the late game on weapon power Idris, you're actually going to be a bit tankier, and you might be able to use that shield quite a lot. But the barrier duration is something that you need to be aware of. It does mean that it's going to be more particular about the time that you use it. Chakram, cooldown up until you overdrive it. Stamina recovery on hit down, crystal ratio down, and weapon power ratio down. So a nerf to Chakram, pretty big nerf to Chakram. Means it's not going to be as obnoxious when you get hit by it, but also means Idris players will not feel as rewarded when they hit it, especially when they get a double hit. Shimmer Strike, cooldown up, new, total periodic damage. I guess this is the damage that you deal when, I mean, if you jump onto a target and you're in that target's range, you deal this damage. I'd need to test what total periodic damage actually means, but my guess is that when you use Shimmer Step on a target, it will deal damage to it whilst Shimmer Step is undergoing. And that's a crystal ratio thing, with the sweep damage that when you come out of it being nerfed across the board for weapon ratio. So essentially they've changed it so much though that CP Idris basic attacks are going to be much more punchy, and he's now going to get some significant damage from the ultimate. Weapon power, you have to get to the late game to get much use out of your A, and you're also getting a nerf to your B and C across the board. Overall, I think CP Idris got a little bit of a buff, a little bit of a buff here, apart from the Chakram. And Weapon Power Idris maybe across the board. I'll have to see how significant these barrier changes are, but actually across the board, it looks like Weapon Power Idris actually got a nerf. So Weapon Power Idris across the board gets a nerf. CP Idris gets a slight change with a nerf in the middle. But yeah, CP Idris might be a thing now again. Duel, Rocket Leap, Crystal Ratio gone. Well, 70%. Bonus PS removed, no longer crits on overdrive, energy cost down, cooldown up in the early game, with the base damage going up, with the weapon ratio up and the crystal ratio up. So crystal CP duel basically got reverted. So CP duel maybe can be played again. It definitely feels like weapon power Jewel is dead though, unfortunately. Sorry, Weapon Power Jewel. Any Weapon Power Jewel players out there, especially once they just release a skin. This basically that kills the theory that SCMC buffs heroes with skins, because Jewel got pretty badly nerfed. Kinetic, tracer shots, weapon ratio down. Maybe that's enough to stop Kinetic being obnoxious, because that's essentially almost a 50% nerf to, well, it's a 37% nerf, right? 37.5% nerf. To Kinetic's tracer shots, which is actually a significant amount of damage reduction. So maybe, I still think Kinetic will be good, by the way, though. I do still think Kinetic will be good. Koshka now also deals basic attacks worth of damage on hit. Oh, okay. That's actually pretty solid. Weapon power Koshka's Rejoice, but it's also a little bit of extra burst damage on your A. Bonus damage is down. Oh, okay. I didn't read this part. Cooldown is down up in the early game, same when you overdrive it, but not many people overdrive Pouncy Fun. Bonus damage is down across the board. Energy cost is up. Okay, that sucks. Basically, you'll deal a basic attack, which may equate to a similar amount of damage in the early game. We'll see, but it mixes the damage a little bit, so you get a little bit of CP and a little bit of weapon power damage. Twirly Death attack weapon ratio. Well, they're trying to make weapon power Koshka a thing. Hey guys, this update, try out weapon power Koshka, see how it goes, because this actually seems really interesting. Essentially, it's giving you. I'm wondering whether it's an actual basic attack or just a basic attack's worth of damage. Because if it's an actual basic attack, for instance, Tension Bow could be really strong with Pouncy Fun, because you Pouncy Fun and get an instant Tension Bow proc. But yeah, maybe try out some Weapon Power Koshka. They've opened the door for Weapon Power Koshka, guys. Give it a go. Lorelei, basic attack, crystal ratio down, so CP Lorelei getting hit. Fish food, impact delay up, bonus health ratio down, nerf, and massive nerf to fish food again. Splash down, cooldown up until you overdrive it. Slow is down, and the bonus health ratio down. And water wall cooldown has also been nerfed. Lorelei needed nerfs. Pretty bad nerfs to Lorelei. I still think she'll be useful. Unfortunately, the slow's just not going to be as obnoxious, and the stun duration is not going to be obnoxious as well as it being harder to hit on the stun. But Lorelei, just through her kit, is still going to be a good captain. She'll just be a little bit less strong than she was previously. Lyra, light attack damage crystal ratio down. Imperial Sigil, cooldown is down. Energy cost is down until the late game. So up across the board, sorry. Damage per second is up with the crystal ratio going down. Heal per second is down with the health ratio going back up. The burst damage is up with the crystal ratio going down. And the burst heal with health ratio is going massively up. Ooh, Lyra back on the field, guys. Greatly increases slow duration when you overdrive it. Okay, so that's 2.5 seconds. That might give us some reason to want to overdrive Bright Bulwark. Cooldown is down. Energy cost is down. Damage is up with the crystal ratio nerf. Arcane Passage cooldown is up with the energy cost going up, with the range also getting nerfed. So Arcane Passage gets a nerf. Sure. CP Lyra gets a nerf. Captain Lyra gets a huge buff. Captain Lyra, no doubt in my mind, she's going to be one of the best supports on this update. It's hard to balance Lyra. Either she's overpowered as a captain or she's not. And she's going into that borderline overpowered again. Magnus missiles. Mystic missile hitbox slightly reduced. Primary damage on the crystal ratio is up. Secondary damage is up with the crystal ratio going up. And they've nerfed his ultimate. So they've buffed his A but nerfed his ultimate. I think his ultimate was the problem. That's the thing. I do think his ultimate was the problem in terms of the straight up damage. But now if someone combos his ultimate, they're actually going to deal more damage. So if people are really good with Magnus and they can get big combos off with the Seraphic Flare and Mystic Missiles, it's going to hurt more. Yeah, I don't know whether Magnus needed this buff at all. I probably would have just been happy with this change right here, and that would have been fine. Don't know if he needed this. We'll see. He's a very high skill cap hero, which is why his win rate is not like excellent. A bit like Kestrel, right? Kestrel's okay. You don't need to constantly buff her because her win rate is low, because then the really good players become obnoxious with them. Feels like Magnus might be entering that territory. Maline, root duration is up across the board, but the crystal ratio is down. Shadow Tendrils base damage is up and crystal ratio is up. Barrier is up and the movement speed is back up, and the Wicked Escapade, which is her pool ability, is cooldown down. Okay, I mean, Malene was in a slightly rough position. I think Malene was good, but this is actually a significant set of buffs to Malene, especially the Shadow Tendrils changes here. That's going to increase her damage by quite a significant amount, as well as the barrier and bonus movement speed as you level it up. Great, especially when you overdrive it, you get a massive bonus movement speed there. Malene probably back on the cards. I think Malene's likely going to be back on the field as a really, really good hero. Although, what's really interesting is, do you want to level your A or your B? Because they've actually now got some significant overdrive abilities. Do you want the bonus movement speed with the severely lower cooldown on the escape ability? So basically, do you want to escape or do you want to deal damage is what you have to ask yourself when you're overdriving abilities for Malene now. Rhyme no longer applies chill. Fortified health gain from non-heroes is up. Max fortified health percent up to 40%. So Rhyme getting some solid buffs. No longer has a chill bonus. Primary damage is up to compensate. Crystal ratio is massively up, and the secondary damage is down. So basically, if you hit your they're reverting what they did last update. If you hit that first bit of Winter Spire, you'll deal more damage with no longer getting a chill bonus, and also Rhyme going to get hella tanky. So maybe we see Rhyme in some 3v3. Again, just because of the way that Rhyme works, don't think we'll see him in 5v5. But 3v3, yeah, I think Rhyme, again, trying to make him in a solid position in that particular game mode. Here we go. Reza. Perk damage. Down, but the crystal ratio is like doubled. Christ. Alright, I'm going to read the whole changes before I make a decision on this. Cooldown is down on Scorcher to 3. Energy cost is down, with the damage being nerfed on the base damage of the crystal ratio. Okay, so it's not so obnoxious to get hit by his Scorcher, but it's gonna hurt if you get hit by his perk. Troublemaker charge time massively down. Cooldown is massively down when you overdrive it. Energy cost is up, however. Dash damage is up with the crystal ratio going down, with the empowered basic attack also getting a significant nerf. So essentially, this is all about Reza's perk now. It's all about applying Firestarter and proccing it, which is why the buff damage on the empowered basic attack from his B has gone down to compensate. Netherform Detonator is cooldown up until the late game. Energy cost is massively up. Damage is down with the crystal ratio going up. Fortified health is gone. Fortified health is 0 at base, but it has a 150% crystal ratio. So the more crystal power you get, the more fortified health you can get. Which actually, let's say you have 200 and something. Let's say you had 300 CP, which isn't unachievable. You're gonna get 450 fortified health. So at 300 CP, you'll get just a little bit more fortified health than you had previously. Maybe with the 40% ratio there, it'll be about similar. And the duration is up to 10 seconds, which means in his ultimate with Firestarter, if you've got a lot of CP, you're gonna hit like a truck. And it's also really interesting that they put this up to a 230% ratio, because this kind of changes up some build paths for Reza. You actually, although you can still go Aftershock, it doesn't give you a lot of CP, so you might not get the most value out of it. And because we've now got a CP ratio on Reza that's at 230%, you're looking at things like Shatterglass for Reza. Like just strict burst items. This changes the way that Reza plays as a lot. You can't just get Aftershock and start bonking on people. Actually, with Aftershock, you might even deal significantly less damage than you did before because of the changes to his other abilities. However, once you get some CP behind you and you activate your ultimate, you're a tanky bloody guy with 10 seconds of a 230% scaling crystal ratio basic attack. Seems good. Seems really good. I think Reza is going to be solid this update. Saw now generates spin-up stacks incrementally. Doesn't make... basically, it means that you can't hit B and get full spin-up stacks after cancelling B. You have to complete your spin-up, suppressing fire to get your spin-up stacks. Saw fires an explosive shell, dealing damage to nearby enemies when it explodes. Damage is 300 plus 100 weapon power with 140 crystal power. Okay, I don't know how this is going to work. Basically, it means that his ultimate is now a targeted skill shot ability, or it's just it adds an explosive shell to his basic attack, but it will change up a little bit. It means also there might be more burst damage for CP Saws, so CP Saw actually might be in a solid place here. Just a lot of burst damage added to this. That's cool. I like that. Silvernail's damage is down. Double shot now always fires if a bolt is held. Okay. If you, yeah, okay. That basically means that you can. I read somewhere that basically means that if you can't cancel the basic attack, it'll just do it. It'll just fire its bolt if a bolt is held. So basically means that if you've got a bolt, it'll always fire. It just means that, you know, essentially if you've got double shot, it'll always proc. Duration. Stake duration down in the early game massively with the slow being consistent across the board. You have to overdrive it, but you don't get the overdrive power of an increased slow. Okay, some small changes to Silvernail. A nerf across the board. 12 damage in the early game is pretty significant, especially for his harass with double shot. But again, he is just a really, really good scaling weapon power carry. They nerfed him last update. He might not be top tier this update, but he'll still be solid if you like playing Silvernail. All right, let's have a look at Scarf. This boy definitely needed changes. Fan the Flames, damage per second, 16 to 12 to 34 that scales with a crystal ratio going up. Basic attack, max health damage up, but there's no crystal ratio on it. There's no critical hit modifier either. Not many people went critical hit on Scarf anyway. 1 second, need a drink. I've been talking a long time here. Okay. So they've given him a damage per second buff, but you no longer get max health damage crystal ratio, which actually is going to hurt him against tanks specifically, but he will actually be better, I think, versus squishies because of this change here. So worse versus tanks, better versus squishies. Spitfire cooldown up across the board, energy cost up, damage down with the crystal ratio down, and the range has been increased to 14. What? To 14? Okay, I mean, this is a damage nerf for Scarf, and a damage nerf that he probably needed, but now he can fire it from halfway across the map, so what does it matter? Goop damage, energy cost is down, damage is up with the crystal ratio going down, so the base damage is up. Damage per second is down with the crystal ratio dropped. So actually the Goop's crystal ratio is getting nerfed, as well as the damage per second nerf is actually, Goop's not going to be as obnoxious to deal with, and also not going to chunk through turrets as quickly. Dragon's Breath, bonus shield pierce removed, fortified health removed, cooldown is down, energy cost, but with a massive buff to base damage, but it just means that shield is going to be better with him. You also do need to have Broken Myth on Scarf now, I think, to make this effective. Overall, pretty significant damage nerfs to Scarf, which he needed because he was in a really strong position, but the range on his Spitfire means he's going to be able to trade really awkwardly, and he's going to be hard to trade against early on in lane. It's about whether people think that the range increase is enough to make him obnoxious enough in the laning phase to make all these damage nerfs worth it, because don't get me wrong, Scarf has had some significant damage nerfs here, and I'm wondering how much this is going to impact him, because the fortified health also means you can't now channel your Spitfire to keep yourself alive, and your Dragon's Breath to keep yourself alive. You're going to have to use it in a really, really specific place. It scales better, and it's got a higher base damage, which means it will deal a lot of damage, and again, versus squishies who don't build armor, Scarf is probably going to be better, but it just means he's not as much of a tank shredder now. So, with the damage per second increase on his Fan the Flames, this kind of a little bit makes up for the damage per second changes to his Goop. It just means it's going to be harder to apply that damage per second. However, Spitfire going on and constantly landing long-range Spitfires is going to be really obnoxious, and if you can hit squishies with them, it's going to deal a lot of damage. I think Scarf will be good, but his playstyle is going to be changed quite drastically. He's going to be very obnoxious if you can't dodge Spitfires. That's all I'm going to say. Taka, cooldown reduction per stack down, perk charge time scales to 0.5 seconds, which means I think that's his increased basic attack, weapon power basic attack is going to be easier to proc in the late game. You're going to get it more often. Chitin cooldown is down across the board. Kaku no longer heals, which is actually I like because I found the Kaku healing obnoxious. But he's now got a significant speed boost with the duration going up and the cooldown going down significantly. Retsu's cooldown is down in the late game with the weapon ratio going down. What has happened? I actually think that although this looks bad for Taka, this is good for Taka. This changes Taka into an assassin who really does rely on Kaku for repositioning, and he's going to be a bit more selective about when he jumps in. The heal made him really annoying to deal with. He just went to stealth and suddenly he had like loads of HP back. This now means that, yeah, okay, you don't get your heal anymore, but Kaku is a way of repositioning and finding another angle to come into a team fight. The fact that his perk went down to 0.5 seconds means you're going to be able to proc his weapon power damage perk in the late game twice as often. With the cooldown on Chitin going down means you're going to be able to dodge stuff more often. Spell Sword Taka genuinely could be a really solid pickup this update. And I would encourage people to go and test Weapon Power Taka and see how he scales. CP Taka could work, but when you jump in and you come out of Kaku, you're going to be more vulnerable. So you just have to be careful. But Weapon Power Taka actually could really be a good move this update, especially with this change here, meaning you can proc your perk twice as often in the late game. So give it a go. Vox, Julia's Song, basic attack crystal ratio down, resonance damage down. Trying to nerf CP Vox more. Sonic Zoom cooldown has been buffed, so in the late game it's going to be up more often with the energy cost going up. Damage multiplier stuck at 50%. Pulse, energy cost is up across the board. Wait for it cooldown is up, energy cost is up. But they've made his ultimate more impactful. So they've basically shoveled his damage down to a bit more burst heavy on his ultimate. Not that his ultimate was ever really that burst heavy. But they're giving a 100% crystal ratio on the burst here. So essentially, you're not going to get as big of spike with the alternating current, but if you build more CP, you might have a well-placed ultimate might burst people out in team fights more often. But this is a pretty solid nerf for CP Vox across the board. And in part, it's a little bit of a nerf for Weapon Power Vox as well. However, the cooldown coming down to 4 seconds in the late game means that Weapon Power Vox is probably going to be a bit happier in terms of his mobility. But this is a massive nerf for Vox across the board. Again, the problem with Vox, and when you try to nerf Vox, is that his kit is just really good for what he does. He's a very mobile, ranged carry. It doesn't matter how much you nerf him. He's just really good at keeping himself alive. Vox will still be played. Whether CP Vox is going to be as good, because the playstyle has been shifted over to his ultimate, we'll have to see and do some testing. I have a feeling that CP Vox is still going to be good, even though the resonance damage and the basic attack damage got nerfed in terms of crystal ratios. That was a 20% nerf there and a 10% nerf there, and they've given him a 60% buff on his ultimate, which actually, cooldown-wise, even though it went up, it was actually up pretty often in the late game. So it actually gives Vox something that CP Vox didn't ever have, which was burst damage. So now CP Vox is going to get some burst damage, which might actually be pretty solid for him. We'll have to see. But yeah, pretty significant changes to CP Vox there. Let's have a look at items now, and we'll go over this quickly. Atlas Pauldron's cost down, okay. Small quality of life change for Atlas Pauldrons, that's nice. They weren't seeing much love because they were pretty crap as an item overall. Bonesaw total cost up, weapon power down, attack speed up, and armor pierce up. Hey, I like Bonesaw. Bonesaw is in a really good space, and I think Bonesaw is going to be even better this update because of the attack speed and the armor pierce buff. Broken Myth, up costs, and shield pierce is up by 10%. Great. Broken Myth, super strong item on this update. Like, cuts through almost 50% of someone's shield. Capacitor plate down, total cost. Okay. Nice little buff. Crucible cost down, but the health it grants is also down, so it's not going to be as a tanky item for people. It also means that people like Lyra, with her health buff increase, is going to feel the pinch a little bit, as will Lorelei, as will Finn, so captains across the board are not going to be happy with this change. Fountain of Renewal cost down, so it's going to be easier to get your fountain. Great for 3v3, also means it might be a more viable item to go earlier on in 5v5. Poison Shiv, total cost up. Cool. It means that Poison Shiv Bonesaw build that you saw was going to be a little bit harder to achieve, but still going to be a great build because of the changes to Bonesaw. Pulse Weave damage, cost down, passive burn up. Did they need that? Okay, Pulse Weave, super great item. And again, those flicker changes earlier on because of the pulse weave changes, Flicker might still have a place. Pulse weave is a great item for him specifically. So pulse weave, if you're a pulse weave captain, you're actually getting a buff this update. Reflex block health is down, okay. And that's kind of reflecting the health changes across the board. Rook's Decree, total cost down. Okay, I mean, not many people using Rook's Decree. This might encourage more people to use Rook's Decree, and because Lyra is back into the meta, Rook's Decree was a really good item on Lyra. Spellfire, or Lyra never left the meta, let me be honest, but now she's just really strong, so this might be a nice quality of life change for her. Spellfire damage up, damage over time based on level is down, but up in the early game with the crystal ratio going up. So Spellfire scales better, and actually probably going to scale beyond this point here. So you might see Spellfire actually as a really, really good item this update. Stormcrown, true damage up. Damage to heroes is damage to non-jungle monsters. So there's no more damage to heroes on Stormcrown. It is purely that jungle clearing item. And like I said, you need Stormguard Banner and you need Stormcrown if you're going to try and clear the jungle on either 3v3 or 5v5. It's basically Vainglory's equivalent of League introducing the jungle item. Stormguard Banner and Stormcrown is now your jungle item. And if you're playing a jungler, you need to buy it. Otherwise, you just won't clear the jungle. If there is any part of this video, and I'm going to link it in the description, I'm also going to link it in the comments. If there's any part of this video you watch this part where I tell you to buy Stormguard Banner if you're a jungler in 3v3 or 5v5. Otherwise, you're not going to clear the jungle. So that is the most important part of this video. Tension Bow changes cost up, proc damage up to 100% with RPS. I mean, they've just made Tension Bow good again. They've just made Tension Bow really good again. Why? Okay, Tension Bow good. And those people that used Tension Bow previously are going to be happy, because there's a decent amount of burst damage coming back. Although actually, didn't they change the way the burst damage overall scaling worked? So basically, extra 50 base damage with an extra 10% armor pierce means that Tension Bow is there for the burst carries, and it'll probably do a decent amount of damage in the early game again. So yeah, Tension Bow is there for the burst carries. Talents, not many talents changes. They've changed the heal modifier, so maybe he actually gets healing in with his talent still. And Unwaking Nightmare fixed with the issue was not being modified, duration modifier. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Talents, who cares? Right, that is update 3.10. Massive changes to the jungle. Crazy changes to the jungle. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I think this is probably the best meta change they've ever made for 5v5, and I really like that they've given 3v3 their own meta in terms of sort of quicker pace games. It also means you're going to be able to rattle through 3v3 games more often. Might mean that you might get people playing it more often as well, which means matchmaking might be better. Right, I'll see you soon.